Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the #1 Divine Intervention virtual event, the D.I.V.E Social Summit for short. If you are new to D.I.V.E Live Online, my name is Iona Meade, your big vision and mission purposepreneur and founder of the Soul Speakers Academy. I'm your host for this interview series. So I have brought together 49 guest experts who I like to call soul speakers from all over the world. And we are sharing with you soul-inspired intuitive business, lifestyle, and marketing strategies for purpose-driven business owners. So throughout the 49 days of the Social Summit, I'll bring each of my guests into the Soul Speaker Spotlight for you, where they'll share not only their free gift with you, but their soul-inspired strategy for the day. So hopefully this will be coming to you in divine timing, with divine energy and in divine flow. I'm super excited about today's interview. So we know that the universe brings us what we need in divine timing with divine guidance. But it's not always fun to do it alone. So that's why you'll have the opportunity to join myself, my guest, and all of the attendees for the D.I.V.E Social Summit in the Soul Speakers Tribe Facebook group. So do come over and continue on the conversation. I will put today's freebie link around this video. And don't forget to come over to D.I.V.E Live Online and get the bonus training. My bonus training is called Speak Your Soul's Message 101, and we have live Q&A and the replay for that. So let's get going. We have about 20 minutes or so together today, and I want to introduce you to my very special guest. It's amazing because I'm here in the UK, and my great guest is coming all the way from South Africa. So hi, Sarah Jane. Hi, Sarah Jane.
Hi, Anna. Hi. Wonderful to be with you. Isn't technology great?
Oh, it's amazing. So welcome. So Sarah Jane Farrell, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Let me give you a proper introduction. Facilitates and guides highly sensitive people, alternative health practitioners, conscious entrepreneurs, healers who have been called to share their unique gifts and talents through a healing crisis or spiritual awakening. So after her own profound spiritual emergency in 2002, she went on to certify in many healing modalities and has developed a successful healing practice, empowering her clients to write their own, get this, personal prescription for whole body, mind, health and wellness. Super excited about today's topic. So guys, if you have any questions for Sarah Jane, do leave them below. Do come into the Facebook group and continue on the conversation. If you are here on Sarah Jane's featured day, then she'll be there to answer any questions. And if not, do get a freebie. Let us know how you find it and continue on that conversation so we can move you into inspired action. So Sarah Jane, before we get into your freebie and your soul inspired strategy, can you share with our audience a little bit about how your path unfolded and how you're doing what you're doing today?
I'd love to. And I suppose it's a story that everybody will relate to in their own way. But I kind of grew up in Zimbabwe in the time of the Bush War. And I suppose we were all very hypervigilant at the time. But as a child, I was super intuitive, and I couldn't really feel where I started and where something else began, and that included inanimate objects. So I was made quite wrong for my ability to be able to merge with other beings. And so I shut it down quite early on in my life and didn't really think anything more of it except being an overachiever, doing everything right, being the people pleaser. And I seemed to have what was a great life. And I went on, we left Zimbabwe, and I went on to be an entrepreneur. I was always told that I didn't handle authority very well. So I pretty much have worked for myself my whole life, and very much in the creative field. So I started in fashion, and then I ended up with a 3,000 square meter factory making custom made solid wood furniture, and had a huge staff and a great life, and retail outlets and a factory, and everything was great. Married my partner, not necessarily a good choice, but yeah, things were just chugging along, and everything seemed great, but I really felt like I was dying on the inside. Wow. And the wheels came off 15 years ago. I really just didn't want this life anymore, and there'd been a lot of verbal and abuse in the relationship, and also this total hyper state all the time of, how am I going to pay the wages, and constantly just living for my business. I feel like I lost my joy. I lost who I was.
Wow.
And I ended up being told by my husband that if I was going to leave the business, I was going to leave with nothing. So that became a self-fulfilling prophecy. And my company went into liquidation and sequestration. And to cut a long story short, I have what I call my spiritual breakthrough rather than my breakdown. And I had a history of chronic depression and high anxiety my whole life, but I managed to manage it and cope as we're taught to do, lift your game and just get on with it.
Yeah.
But I tried to commit suicide, and luckily I was with a woman that has loved me through a lot, and she got me the help, and I checked into a mental institution, and pretty much that was the turning point in my life, where I was the medical mystery. Didn't matter what psychotropics or SSRIs they put me on, how much they numbed me down, they just couldn't label me far enough. So I was a label collector, one of them being bipolar, manic depressive, bipolar 2. And it took me a year of being on medication, being in a mental institution, and really just trying to get my life back to a place where I'd left with nothing. And it was a pretty good way, thinking back on, starting with a clean slate, but I had pretty much left with nothing, and I wasn't willing to buy the diagnosis that I was going to be on medication for the rest of my life. And they later found out that I had an acoustic neuroma. So I had a brain tumor that was inoperable, and that was actually putting pressure on my brainstem, which was probably what had caused me to have these very, very high and very low depressive states my entire life, that just exacerbated by all the environmental stresses. Wow. I always kind of say, we're the gun and our environment is the trigger. And I know that you've had your own spiritual awakening and many, many life challenges too. So I think it's something as women that we relate to a lot, as a common theme of, where did my life go? Who am I? Having this huge identity crisis. But I wasn't willing to be on medication for the rest of my life. I just hated living in that sort of numbed out, zombified state all the time. So that was really the turning point for me. And I went into a lot of alternative healing practices. I got certified in Chinese medicine. I studied, I read, I soaked everything up. I spoke to people that were doing this, and I pretty much wrote my own prescription to be here sitting with you today. And I'm not saying my life is great all the time, but I really feel like how many other women, how many other people are sitting there thinking that there is no other way, or that they have no support. And that really was the birth of my practice, to support other people in a more natural way, especially women, to create a fantastic life and know that they're not alone, and that there is a way through an integrative, holistic approach. And I think so many of the modalities that I've trained in, they're fantastic, but they're just a piece. And for me, it's really about using nature as your source of healing, and really tapping into that innate wisdom of the body. So, that's what I call my root cause resolution. Is it doesn't matter how many times we practice, or how much we do, or how much we apply to our lives. If we haven't gone in and addressed in a safe and nurturing space the underlying triggers, the stories that keep running from our inner child, from timelines in our life that have perhaps been there all the time and never been resolved. So we're in this high state of either hyper or hypo-vigilance all the time. And life happens and we don't know why. Disease never comes out of nowhere, does it? No. It's this gradual build-up or gradual wearing down. And eventually, the domino effect happens, and we do have some kind of chronic body breakdown. And I really want to assist people to not wait until that happens, but to use mindfulness practice and use nature as your medicine cupboard to, nurture and self-care for your body. And then look at, what is required to support the body once you've taken yourself through the awakening of the stories that are really running our lives from a very deep, hidden part.
Thank you, Sergio. I appreciate that. And you've touched on a couple of points there. And to share your story, everybody brings something different to the table. And guys, whatever's going on for you, to hear Sarah Jane articulate her story in that way might just inspire you to get honest and tell the truth, right? And you touched on, I've been through my spiritual awakening and the crisis or seemingly crisis in my life. And like you said, it was an opportunity to have a clean slate, but not having that in your awareness. I made that choice myself. And I do resonate when we've had conversations before and we've connected. We said, you said to me, didn't you? Oh my gosh, that's my story. We do have that similar story, and I do believe that people will resonate with that, because there's a few people said to me, wow, you're so honest and you're so open. So I appreciate that with you. And my life looked really great from the outside, when I was married, and I had a detached house, we had holidays, we had soft top cars, we ate well, we got married on Cocoa Beach, all that stuff. But inside, I hear you saying that, it didn't feel great, and those labels on you and feeling different to other people. And I know that our audience are resonating with that. And if you do leave some comments below. Tell us what your experience has been as you've been awakening. It's not always easy. You think, this spiritual awakening journey, okay, where do I fit? What do I do? And it does feel uncomfortable sometimes. For me, it was like a shedding of my old vibration, but I was aware. I was aware of the journey that I was going on. It did feel uncomfortable. I did hit my rock bottom, and I did start again and rebuilding my identity, as you say, going through a divorce and not having a home, living with nothing. And it can be a tough deal. So to have somebody like you to just really come on and say, this is where I was, this is what happened to me 15 years ago. And it has been a slow process and a journey, but now I'm in the position to reach out and to support those people that have been through a similar journey. And I love that you use that nature, going back to yourself, right? I love that. I think it's super, super powerful.
Yeah. And that's a big part of my work too, is I've done a lot with equine psychotherapy, and I'm actually writing that book that's been waiting to come out of me at the moment, called Beyond the Edge of Madness. And it really is, what I learned in that time of seeing depression and this breakdown as the biggest gift that ever could have happened. And there were horses down the road from this mental institution where I was. Yeah. And I realized that it was in their presence, everything I learned about finding my humanity, finding that kindness with myself, I learned from horses. So, again, I think nature never lies. Nature is always looking for a way to thrive, and animals really give us that space to just be out of judgment and to be present with the emotions that we're feeling in the moment, because we've been made so wrong for feeling. And as women, I think that, we're told, oh, we're too sensitive, or, oh, just get over yourself. But, that's what makes us human, and learning to flow through the emotions and really have that visceral feeling in the body is part of coming off that high stress. Because you can't think, for horses, it's when the adrenaline's up, the learning goes down. So really about having that practice, having the right support, with people that get you, and with people that have shared that similar story. Because as women, we've been persecuted for centuries. And we've been told that either we're selfish or we care too much. And it's just finding your space, finding your place in that, and as you said, using that as your divine catalyst to expand and grow, because there's someone out there that's going to be inspired by your story and by your unique talents and capacities. And you know, you need to get your message out there, and run with the wolves, you know, run with women that can see your vision and hold that vision for you when you can't for yourself. I think that's so important, isn't it? And
I love that. So I wanted to jump in there because when you were talking, what came to mind is that, and I know that you're sharing your free gift today, is when you're on that journey, what for me, it was about going back to me and loving myself enough to be able to stand up and say, loving myself despite all of the things that had gone on. Did you find that for you? You know, because you know, not being accepted, or you know, things had seemingly gone wrong. How was that experience for you? How did you turn that around in that way?
Yeah, I love Brene Brown, and I think she says it so well, you know, that we do. I think she says she's an expert on shame, and I always kind of say, well, I did all the shame and the guilt and the self-flagellation and the self-judgment and the making myself small to fit in and not make waves. I just did all my experience, got all my experience in the field. So, you know, I think it really is about taking it as not a mistake. Just, you know, we make choices, and if you make a choice and you land and it doesn't feel good in your body and it's not in alignment with your core values or what you stand for, choose again. I think we've been taught, and again, this comes from childhood for most of us, before the age of 3, we've pretty much decided what's safe and what's not safe for us. Yeah. And we give ourselves up. So, you know, I think it's so vital to go back and care for the child that was told she had to choose, and when she'd chosen, she couldn't choose again. Yeah. Go and find out, what does she need? You know, and this is what is so beautiful about combining, you know, in a holistic, integrative way, the needs of the child, because there's a part of us that needs to be fed and nurtured. And if you don't go back and find her and tell her that it's going to be okay, and see where her stories have been distorted. You know, there's so many distorted perceptions, and a lot of how we lead in our lives or don't lead in our lives is coming from points of views and other people's belief systems.
So how can we turn that around? So today let's share your free gift, so we can try and put people on getting having their own turning point if they haven't, or if they know that they're on that road to kind of just really raising their vibration and really coming back to the truth of who they are. Shall we share your free gift? You give away, so Sarah Jane gives away, is bringing to the summit the 30-day Celebrating You Self-Love Challenge, which I love. And so you'll be able to get that. Again, I'll put the link for you. And you have Sarah Jane guiding you and giving you daily love notes. I mean, how amazing is that? Because sometimes when we're in the funk, right, and we're not in that flow, you know, like you've said, that you had somebody there to support you in that right the way through, and just to have that consistency. So I love that you've put it into, and I know it sounds like a challenge, and sometimes it can be, right, to actually say, this is what I commit to. This is not the stories that I'm gonna allow to control my now and my future. So Sarah Jane, let us know, before we kick into your soul inspired strategy for the day, because I want to respect everybody's time, but just do let us know about the love challenge. What are people going to get when they sign up for that?
Oh, it's a beautiful drip feed, because as you said, we're uncomfortable asking for what we need. We don't even know what we need anymore in order to find our joy, to love ourselves completely. And we can't show up and be authentic for other people if we're not giving that to ourselves. So, you know, I think it's really just, it's one of my favorites, as you said, because we don't know what it is to love ourselves. We are unkind. We're hurling judgment at ourselves from the minute we get up, and all the should haves and the could haves. So it really is just 5 or 10 minutes. Some of them are meditations, some of them are guided activations. There's some written mindfulness work, and really just an opportunity to take a walk and let me hold your hand and just really restore those parts of the brains, those parts of the neural nets. Look at your stories and come back to a place of more kindness and loving space of allowance and finding your joy. So I hope that people join me on that and let me know how it goes. And don't give up. I've had a couple of people that have 2 or 3 or 4 days in. They're all there and they're great. And then we kind of fall off the wagon, and because it starts to get challenging, or it pushes us out of our comfort zone. And it's our nature to move away from pain and toward pleasure. So keep going, and just know that it's there to support you, and I'm there to support you just as your beautiful summit, and we're literally diving back into your body, diving into what do I want, who am I, what are my needs, and doing some deep exploratory work to really get you back into a loving place of kindness for you and your child, for those parts and pieces of you that are wanting to be fed.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, and that's why I believe that you say it's a challenge, because it, to go on that journey and there's resistance sometimes, or there's fear. Sometimes it's like this story or this situation or this this crisis or whatever it is serving you in some way. And so when we flip out and we come out on the other side, once you stretch that, then there's not really any going back. You can go off a little bit and kind of pretend and hide a little bit, but once you grow and you're really becoming in tune with yourself, you never go right back down. You might go off for a day or two or a year or two, but you always come back. So what better way to go on that journey with Sarah Jane? I highly recommend anyone who's thinking, I've tried this before, I've tried to be positive, I've tried to being a joyful state, but it doesn't last. The idea is not to last at every minute of the day, but what it is to have that tipping point for you. So I would love to know, and Sarah Jane would love to know as well. So Sarah Jane, before we wrap up, let's share your soul-inspired strategy for the day. And guys, the idea about the gifts that my guests are sharing and giving you those practical things, and also we want to be having you move and feel your way in your life, your business, and your marketing, because loving yourself comes out, giving yourself that permission comes out and radiates in every area of your life. As Sarah Jane said, it's all interconnected. So do share your soul inspired strategy for today, Sarah Jane.
A practice for me that I highly recommend, and like you were saying with the challenge, it really is about building a muscle again. It's about building that stamina and getting excited about your life again. And for me, my practice that works for me, and again, it's about finding what works for you, but for me, it's about giving my ego a voice. It's knowing that doubt's going to be there to wake me up every morning going, hi, here I am, and throwing every reason and justification about what I can't do and what's not going to get done, and how I'm going to have to put myself into that dark, dismal despair of not accomplishing everything that needs to be done. So for me, it's a practice again of giving my ego a voice for 5 minutes every morning. When I open my eyes, he's there.
Yeah.
So I say hello to doubt. I say hi to my ego. I welcome them in. I listen to what they have to say. And I just listen. It's just that place of observation of what is happening in my body. Where's the contraction? And asking that body part, asking my ego what it needs. Asking doubt what it needs, and then going and doing whatever the hell I want to do anyway. That is in alignment with my business. Yeah. So it really is about giving the kindness and space to know you're not trying to obliterate your ego. Yeah. Your ego's there to keep you safe. Yeah. So tell it that it's safe, even if you don't believe it.
Yeah.
And give it a job.
Move anyway.
Go a job every morning, and I thank it for the doubt, and I thank it for the objections. And I don't have to then go into that being my point of view. It's just a point of view.
Oh, wow.
And then I start my day. So, you know, that for me is a beautiful, and it's not beautiful, but it's a vital part of setting the intention and getting the mindfulness in focus. Once I've looked at the concerns that are very real and very relevant. It's like telling someone not to be scared, telling a child, don't be scared, it's okay. But every part of your body as an intuitive being is telling you that it's not safe here.
Yeah.
So tell the part, or ask the part, what does it need to be safe? And honor that, and then move.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't feel good, adjust your position. And that's really a lovely way for me that I get to start my day, and my clients tell me it works great. So try.
Thank you. I love that. And try it out, guys, and let us know how you find it. And thank you so much for coming to the summit and sharing with Sarah Jane. As we wrap up, if it is Sarah Jane's official day, again, come over to www.D.I.V.E Live Online. Again, I'll put the link for you to come over. Come over in the Facebook group. It is a social summit. We want to hear your thoughts, any aha moments, any insights, and especially getting on the challenge of whatever day this is for you, and just letting us know how you find it. So I will ask you if you have anything to add at the end, Sarah Jane. So I will give you permission to multitask, so you can do that now while I'm chatting and just wrapping up. Do go ahead and grab that. And if you know anyone who resonates with this, resonates with our story, resonates with Sarah Jane's story, resonates with having that spiritual awakening journey, but it not actually going the way that other people might have you believe it should go. You know, for you, whatever it is that you've gone through as your awakening, because once you have that awakening, there is no going back. So getting comfortable in your own skin and talking about your own path and your own stories and observing that is really, really powerful. So do share. So myself and all of the 49 soul speakers, Sarah Jane included, do believe in that transformation. And we know that if you want to provide transformation, you want to get your message out there, that transformation begins one person at a time, and that person is you. All right, so we invite you in to the social summit. If you're not in already, if you've been in, do let us know how you find it, because we would be doing you a disservice if we didn't invite you to take inspired action. We're not asking you to pay for the interview replays and the freebies. They're going to be available to you. You have lifetime access to them. But we do invite you to take that next step. Come over, grab my bonus training. It's called Speaker Soul's Message 101, where I talk about you getting your message out there, featuring on house, virtual events, summits, and radio. So I'm opening up my Soul Speakers Academy. And if you love what Sarah Jane is sharing, which I'm sure you do, she's also contributing an additional guest along with the other speakers to our Uber giveaway. So we're really excited to support you in whatever way that you need it. If you come into D.I.V.E Live Online and you see the 49 guest experts, soul speakers, and you can see their area of expertise, and you can see, well, maybe I might need a little bit of help in this area or a lot of help in another area. That's your way to get full support and really start enjoying this journey that you are on. You know, once you go through that door and you close it, there's just no going back. I love it. So do let us know how you find it. Sarah Jane, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up today?
Just thank you again for the opportunity to get my message out in the world and to allow, you know, people to give themselves permission to say yes, especially all the women that are beating themselves up there. You know, just trust your knowing. I would just say trust your body's innate wisdom to know what it knows, and just remember who you are. It's time to come back to our hearts and remember that we are supported and celebrated and much more interconnected than we give ourselves credit for. So you know, there's never for me been a more exciting time to be alive.
Yes.
Yes. And we're recalibrating our DNA. You know, we're really moving into a new space of consciousness, and together we can go so much further. And for that, I'm so grateful to just know that you're not alone. So just remember that no matter how uncomfortable or painful, as you said, it gets, no matter how much resistance and doubt are telling you not to go, you know, just use that as this divine catalyst to move you forward to your personal growth. And I'm just so thrilled and grateful that you're doing this work to assist people to get their stories out there, because your story matters. And that is how we're going to heal the world and leave it in a better place than we found it. And I say, let's do it.
Thank you so much. Exactly, guys. You heard it, right? Let's do it. You heard it from the horse's mouth, right, Sarah Jane?
Absolutely, yeah. And horses know when to run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Guys, if you've loved this interview, do continue on the conversation. I love it. I mean, I'm so blessed to be able to take notes. Sing as a host, I'm taking notes. I'm listening to my divine guidance. It is the D.I.V.E Social-Summit. So that's what it is. It's that divine intervention, that divine download for the day. And with Sarah Jane's love notes, that you'll be able to divinely download some self-love. So how amazing is that? So this is Iona Meade saying that I will be bringing you another soul speaker who will share some more soul-inspired, intuitive business, lifestyle, and marketing strategies for you throughout the Social Summit. So I shall see you. That's it for today. I'll see you at www.D.I.V.E Live Online. Take care, guys.